I don't know why this never comes like pops up when it's supposed to just pop up.
Because you have to refresh.
Hmm.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
Hey, everyone.
What's going on?
I'm Angela.
And I am Ron.
And this is
Chatter of
Opinion.
Opinion.
So thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you. Yes.
We are on our final episode of
final one.
The 5 Love Languages.
Yes, we've covered 4 so far. We have 1 more to go, and we're going to get to that today.
Yep. So today's episode is all about
Annoyance?
physical touch.
Oh, physical touch. I thought annoyance was part of the.
It's because you're not.
Languages.
Well, you were a physical touch person. We'll get into that.
So yes, today's episode is about physical touch. Now, physical touch used to be my number one, and like I said,
it was
last
my number
week,
one before
was it?
too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I said last week, I changed it after I took the test again, and it became
Quality time.
Quality time. That
So
QT.
do you remember where physical touch was on yours?
Number 2.
Mine was number 3 for physical touch.
What was your number 2?
Quality time.
What was your number 1?
Acts of service.
Oh,
remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, so physical touch is the expressed affection from your partner in physical ways, such as hugs,
yes,
kisses, hand holding, hand touching,
right,
cuddling. It's not always about sex, but definitely can lead to intimacy. But people who enjoy physical touch as their love language, it's not all about that.
Okay.
And it's like they called it tactile expression.
Tactile. Nobody uses that word.
Well, tactile is like touch.
Who uses that though? Why don't you just say touch? Touch expression, which is tactile expression. Okay.
Yeah. And then also, so people whose love language is physical touch, also, I would think in a close second would be quality time, because you can't physically touch somebody if they're not there. Correct?
Well, it just depends on what. I would agree with you on that, but then again, you say quality time. Time and quality time is different.
In person.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like in person. Because some people just like the whole. There's a definition of quality time when you spend a lot of time with somebody. Then some people just, I'm just gonna go over there and hit it and quit it. You know what I mean? So that's spending some time, but that ain't quality time. So don't get too confused. If you're trying to figure out your partner's love language when it comes to quality time and just time, there could be a difference when it comes to those the definitions of those two. So make sure that you understand what the difference is and what they actually want from you.
So those who are out there that, again, may have taken the quiz, I know we're in our last episode, but if you haven't already, feel free to take it, because you can go back and return to the other episodes and fill it out and, watch all of them and get info from those. But those whose love language is quality time, please chime in. We'd appreciate your feedback to see maybe specifically what ways, I guess, people can show you their love and affection through touch. Like, which way is that touch? So
and see, that's why, and to jump deeper into it, I never understood the long distance relationship type deal. You know what I mean?
He's always said long distance doesn't
they
work.
don't
Which
work.
is funny to me. Okay.
It could work if your love language is not physical touch or quality time. You know what I mean? But I never understood, because sometimes people have needs, and sometimes those needs are physical.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
But if it's just temporary, I think that there's other ways to be creative.
Right.
Until you can touch each other.
So why did you say it was funny to you?
I don't remember. You know, you
Oh.
have to let me speak when it's on my mind, because if not, it's gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. If I remember, I'll bring it back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, physical touch is the conversation for today. Like I said before,
I
my
don't
love
remember.
language was physical touch. Because I think.
Oh, I remember. Hold on. Let
Go
me
ahead.
cut you off. I remember what I was going to say was that like with you, physical touch prior was your love language or your primary love language. But with you being like military, or did you always have your significant others with you when you were
Yeah,
away?
pretty much always had them
Okay.
with me. There was a
Like
point in
you didn't
time where we
have
were
to do long
separated for like,
distance?
for like 2 years for the visa
So
process.
see, you could do long distance.
Not
It's not
saying you wanted to
preferred.
do it,
Yeah.
but that was yeah. Okay.
You just would not prefer it. Plus, too, maybe when you were younger, maybe you felt like it was fine. But now that you're older, do you feel like, nah, I
No,
don't
even when
want
I
to
was
do long
younger,
distance?
no,
You didn't
long
care
distance
for it?
was not my thing.
Yeah.
Because once you, let me say this appropriately,
Mm.
once you get the feeling
Of someone.
of someone, then you can't forget that part of a relationship. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Especially when you put your needs, into it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That person has to be there for
There.
me. They don't have
Yeah.
to be there every day. Now, I'm not saying that person has to be smothering me. I'm just saying if that person was in a different state or something, and you don't have easy access to them, it was a no-go for me. It was a wrap. It just wouldn't work because that wasn't my love language was physical touch. Yeah.
So I have to say, earlier in our relationship, when physical touch was Ron's love language, it was also my primary love language. But I found it very funny to me because I think at that time, again, we were still getting to know each other and stuff. But Ron, although physical touch was his love language, he was not good at expressing physical touch. Like,
Okay, elaborate
right?
on that. What do
Remember,
you
like when
mean?
we first started dating, like you wouldn't hold my hand. You're not like a PDA person,
Mm.
and not to say I was a PDA where I wanted him to be all over me, but a quick kiss or, think Ron was not that
Yeah,
person.
because you know what? Growing up in my family dynamic, we were not that
That,
loving family. Like
yes.
we didn't. My family didn't walk around telling each other we loved each other and hugging and stuff like
Right.
that. So
But that was your physical touch. I mean, that
yeah,
was your love language. So
yeah, but
for you to crave it and want it, but not give it.
wait a minute now. I ain't saying
What?
nothing about craving and wanting. I'm just saying
Well,
out of all the 5 love languages,
that's what you
that's
prefer. Okay,
yeah. You
you
see what I'm saying?
prefer.
Yeah, but I was not used to holding hands
No,
or
you were
hugging
not.
or this, that, and the
He
other
would
because I
not
just
hold my
didn't do
hand.
that as growing up. We didn't do that, so I
Yeah.
wasn't used to that. And all the relationships that I have been in, they were not like physical touch type relationships. You know what I mean? Their love language is probably not physical
Not.
touch. Mm-hmm.
They were probably gifts.
Yes.
Also, too, like I remember one time, like when I was trying to communicate with Ron about, I wish you'd hold my hand or whatever. I remember we were, and let me know if you remember this, that we went to church and you had put your arm around me and I kind of approached you after and told you that I really appreciated that. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't remember that much.
Yeah, it was like a simple just touch, but him putting his arm around me like at the pew and just touching me, it was, I don't know, it made me feel comforted and loved,
No.
and so it's not always like, again, being intimate. It's just even something like a simple touch or hand across the cheek.
Right.
Not a slap.
I ain't slapping nobody. No.
Not a slap.
Jasmine says, and she's family, Jasmine Tribble's family. She says, I was just about to say our family is not lovey-dovey. We've never been
No.
lovey-dovey. She says, and now today I can't do physical touch. It's one of my lowest ranked. It's one of my lowest ranked actually.
Love languages.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jasmine. So, do you show affection to your kids? Because sometimes it's generational. So I just
Oh,
question that. If you say your family's not, are you also like that with your children where you're just not affectionate? Right? Because
mm.
like our family, we are pretty affectionate in general, and I feel like it kind of has passed on through the generations.
Like I said, our family is not lovey-dovey. We are not the hug and
Yeah.
giving each other compliments and stuff like that. So
I do have to say, because she made a comment, but my sister Crystal, when we were younger, she was not the
mm,
touchy feely person at all. So she did put physical touch is my last love language, probably. Y'all know I ain't touchy feely.
mm,
But like Ron said, if your partner's love language is PT, I had to learn to be more touchy to him at times and have actually opened up to it more. But it would annoy me that if I touched you because you liked it, you start touching me, and that's not what I wanted necessarily.
okay.
So, Crystal, are you saying like just because I touched you to give you physical touch, you took it as a sign that I was wanting to be intimate,
Yeah.
right?
And Jasmine responded, she says, I do smother my kids. She says, I tell them I love them every day, hug every day, give them a kiss before I drop them off at
Perfect.
school. But I think it's a difference when it's your kids versus your partner. Your children, she had those children. She dropped them children off. You
No,
know what I
you
mean?
didn't do
I'm
that.
just saying she did.
But you
Versus
can't
your
say that
family
because you
member.
just said your family was not touchy feely.
Ours was, my family
Right.
wasn't. You know what I mean? But she,
But
as a mother, she
okay, so but she's saying their family too. So Jasmine, was your dad and Kelly like hugging and touchy feely with you? Probably not. I don't
no.
see Kenneth Tribble or
But
Kenny Tribble
once again,
being
he was a product of our
okay.
cloth. You know
So
what I
then I
mean?
guess the
So
question is Kelly, because you're saying with a mother it's different. I disagree. I
mhm.
think if you're just not used to that, then it kind of can carry on unless you break the cycle. It seems like Jasmine, no matter who she got it from,
She probably
she
broke the
broke the
cycle with her
cycle.
kids.
Correct.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
But she's not like that with her significant other.
How do you know?
I
Did she
thought I
say
read
that?
that. Now today I can't do physical touch.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? With her kids, yes, but with
Yes.
her significant other, no. She
What
says
did she put?
absolutely not. If I tell my dad I love him today, he'll say I know. And no, Kelly Joe was not. I'm breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That's
I'm just saying we didn't grow up that way, and we had this conversation with my father. Remember when we went down there to visit? We're not that loving type family, and he said he did not express himself as a father because back in those days that
it
showed
was
a sign
looked
of
as
weakness. Yeah, it
weakness.
was
He did say
weakness
that. I remember him
to show
saying,
your kids that affection. They
yeah,
weren't affectionate with us. So
yeah.
I think I got it from him. I just grew up like that. When y'all run around telling each other y'all love each other and sissy and this, that, and the other, we did not grow up
Okay,
that way.
but again, growing up, Crystal was not that person. We didn't tell each other we loved each other. We didn't hug
Mhm.
each other. We didn't do any of that. As we got older, what?
Right. As you
As
got
we got
older,
older, now I'll tell my sister all day I love her.
mhm,
I'll hug her. Also, too, we've been through a lot, and so it's important
but
to me to show her in every way, whether it's verbally, physical,
right.
physical, whatever.
But she says you guys will do that, but she says she's not a physical touch person with her significant
Yeah.
other, correct?
Yeah, she says, yes, he would take it as I'm making a move, but I would literally just try to do physical touch because I know he likes it.
That's it. You touch me, it's on. You know what I mean? It's like, what you trying to do? You trying to set the mood?
So you admit that when we first got together, you weren't that person, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now 50 years later, that's how long it feels like it's been.
Okay.
Do you remember the time where you what's the word? intentionally started like being more touchy-feely with me, whether it was because of you knew I wanted it or because your stance changed?
I believe we had a discussion
Okay.
about our wants.
Okay.
And then once we had that discussion, because it was lacking
In
in the relationship,
you
then
tried.
you try to pick it up
Yeah.
and say, okay, I need
I
to
remember
start
that
doing this,
discussion
and this.
happening a few times. It didn't happen the first time,
No.
but it did. It
Over a
progressed
period of
over.
time,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what got it, because like you were saying weeks ago about knowing your partner's love language, I knew nothing about love languages,
Mhm.
so that wasn't really important to me. But when we had this discussion, because it caused kind of ripples in our relationship, and
Mhm.
you told me what you needed
You
from
were at
me,
least willing to listen
yes,
and
and I'm listening and say,
adjust.
okay, this is what I need to do. I need
Mhm.
to. It's not going to be every day, but this is what I need to do.
You compromise. But I feel
Yes.
like I compromised as well, because although he's not all over me every day, all day, like I prefer, I've also adjusted because I know physical touch wasn't his thing as far as giving. So I feel like my expectations kind of lowered too. And I don't feel like it was in a negative way. I feel like it was just realistic to not set him up for failure.
What you
Like
mean?
to put you on this expectation when you were never going to be that person.
Yeah, but
So
what?
it's wrong of me to be like, I want you to do this all the time when that was never you. So I think you also have to set realistic expectations if your partner, just like JVR, I wish he was on or could get on, but where he was saying, I hate physical touch,
Okay.
right? But I feel like there can be a compromise where you can give your partner a form of physical touch, but it's also your partner's responsibility to not set an unrealistic expectation of that
But
touch.
is that unrealistic? You know what I mean? It might not be
If that
genuine, but
person's
is
not
it
into it,
unrealistic?
yeah, by you expecting like touch of this
Mhm.
level all the time and PDA, and no, I don't want you to just kiss me. I want you all over me.
Right.
I want you to prove your love not to me, but to the world, right?
But I think that could be trouble at times, because if a person's love language, let's say like Jay was saying that he hates it, and that is whoever's love language, then that person might think, well, you're not attracted to me.
Granted, there's a line that needs to be drawn.
What line
If
is
it's
that?
just not working, it's just not working.
No, I'm
If
just.
you're not able to give me at least a comfortable level of what I need,
Mhm.
it's not going to work. But if you can give me a level that satisfies my craving for it, or what I
Right.
deem as necessary,
Right.
but again, if you're not that person, I'm just saying you need to also set realistic expectations if your partner's love language is opposite of what yours is.
Yeah. Sometimes that. Yeah.
I'm not saying to totally give in, because if they're just never going to be that person, sometimes you just have to cut your losses. But if they're willing and want to somehow figure it out and compromise, like I said, then you kind of also have to meet them halfway.
Okay, I agree with you on that. It's just like sometimes when if somebody's love language is not like physical touch is not their thing,
Mm-hmm.
and let's
And
say
it
it is
is
for
for
you.
you.
You see what I'm saying? And you want me to be touchy feely. However, I'm not that person. You start thinking about yourself. Like, why doesn't he want to touch me? Or
No,
why
I
doesn't he
agree,
want to
because
do
I
this,
had
that, and the
those
other?
feelings when we first got together.
Yeah,
And I expressed that to you, like, why, I wish you would do this, or why don't you want to hold my hand? Or I would literally ask you, and you're like, we just didn't do that.
No, we just didn't.
Right. And so, again, it's just about kind of sticking through it, wanting to learn, but
Mhm.
also being open to compromise.
And I will say this too: if physical touch is your thing, and you know that your partner's love language is not physical touch, don't be all over that person to make that
Yeah.
person uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to touching someone, there has to be a comfort level that is associated with physical touch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if you know that your partner's love language is physical touch, don't just have ass, touch on that
Is
person
it
just to say,
half-ass or half-fast?
girl,
What's the word? What is that?
half-assed.
It's
I guess it's
half-assed,
that's how I've always said.
half-assed it, or
Half-assed it.
half-fast it.
Nah, I don't. No, player.
Anyways,
Yeah,
anyways,
but don't just touch on somebody because individuals know the difference between a genuine touch and you just going through the motions to touch on somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Crystal says relationships take compromise and growth. It may not be your love language, but if you love your partner, you're willing to make some sacrifices for the team.
Yep. Now I would agree, but sometimes those sacrifices they tough. You know what I mean? Depends on how serious you are with your love language. Because I think Jay, when he was on here last week, says he hates it.
He did. He
You know what I
used
mean?
the word
He
hate.
hates.
He said, I've been working all day in the heat, and my partner's love language is, what if their love language was physical touch? I hate it.
Right. He just wanted to kick it. But then how do you tell somebody politely, don't touch
Don't
me?
touch
You know what I
me.
mean? So it's a sticky situation. You just have to, like Crystal said, you have to compromise and work your way around individuals' love languages.
Yeah.
Because I don't know
and be creative.
Yeah. Because
right?
I don't know too many people that have the same love languages that are couples. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're like
opposites.
Yeah, total
Like
opposites at the end of the spectrum.
What was Crystal's was it words at Crystal? What was your primary? And then Patrick's is physical touch. I think Crystal's primary was either acts of service or not gifts. What's the other one? Acts of service, gifts, physical touch, quality time. Missing one.
I don't know.
Anyways, I feel like they were opposites.
Right there.
What?
On that paper.
Oh, thank you. Words of affirmation. I feel like hers was
words of
acts of service.
Acts of service.
And his is physical touch. So
yeah, Jasmine says, me and my boyfriend are polar opposites. Mine is words of affirmation and his is physical touch. So when he's trying to touch you,
no, when you're trying to touch him,
he's trying to encourage you to touch him. Like, hey,
he's
girl.
trying to whisper in your ear sweet nothings for you to touch him.
Yeah. That's
right?
probably how that works.
All right. So we also have a list of like cons or like things that physical touchy love languagey people don't like. And so physical touch can normally die down once the relationship becomes comfortable. So you want to always date your partner.
Yeah.
Don't let it die down just because you're in that like out of that honeymoon phase.
Yeah, and make it meaningful. If physical touch is that person's love language, don't always be touching them. You know what I mean? Because then it kind of gets old, and then that's when it dies down in your relationship.
You're saying if they're always touching
if they're overbearing with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that
both
leads
of your
to
love language is not the same.
That leads to my other one is touch versus clingy.
Oh,
there can be too much touch.
Yeah, because sometimes people
then
are
it doesn't
all
seem
over
genuine.
You. Yeah, you're like, get off me already. You know,
it almost seems like a what are those people that have an addiction to like sex or
whatever?
Like they're just like like too much.
You gotta be like feeling them, yeah.
And then also if the person feels like ignored, neglected, or even physical harm, of course, physical harm is not good at all. But if your love language is physical touch and somehow they harm you, it's almost like it's 100 times worse.
What do you mean? Explain that.
Like if someone physically puts their hands on you, but negatively, if your love language to show you love is loving touch
versus boxing,
versus bad touch,
Mm.
that sounds more sexual,
Like
harming touch,
right.
then it's a normally like, whoa.
Like your love language is physical touch. I come in the house and I just jab you in the neck, like, then that's not
Read
that.
the room, Ron. It's
That
not time.
no.
No.
All right. But yeah, but that's what you're saying, physical harm. So
Yeah, physical harm. That's what I'm saying. Like,
mm,
if your love language is physical touch, it's in
mhm.
a loving way. So if you show the polar opposite of that and you're showing me physical harm, that's going to be a no-no, a turnoff.
Right,
I don't
right.
want nothing to do with you.
Because I was in a relationship before where the female, I'm guessing her love language was physical touch, but she
Mm.
was like rough,
Mm,
like always be playing and try to put you in a chokehold and stuff like that. And I'm just like,
you didn't like that.
no, this is not this. That's not what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about.
Like
So
the aggression. It was
yeah, it was very
aggressive.
aggressive, but that was her thing. She was a physical touch type person. So no matter if she was wrestling with you or putting you in the chokehold or whatever, that's the way that she. Yeah, that was the way
Showed
that she
love.
communicated like that. Yeah,
That's scary.
which was not really.
I
Yeah.
wonder when she was pissed at you what she would do.
No, there was no arguments or nothing like that. It was just
Maybe.
yeah, that was her thing.
Was it a short relationship?
Of course, get my butt whooped.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe you didn't stay in long enough to
No,
figure out
player.
when it would turn negative
No, we
with
good.
the aggression.
We were good, but
That's
yeah.
funny. So, okay. So we've gone through all the 5 love languages. What have you learned from reviewing all of these?
What I've learned is big time. You have to know what your partner's love language is. You know, you communicate every single day with life in general, but what makes your partner tick is very important.
I agree.
I never, like I said, besides this, I've never taken the test to see what my
You didn't
partner's
care to
love
know.
language is. No, because it wasn't about their love language per se. It was about just how we communicated with each other on a day-to-day basis. No matter if it was financially, no matter if it's sexually or whatever, it was just how do you communicate with someone.
Yeah.
But now that you take the test and I know what your love language is or this, that,
As
and the
you
other.
say, what makes me tick.
Yeah, so then now it's okay, if there's something that's not connecting within the relationship, now I know, hey, have I done this? Or
Yeah.
do I need to do this? Because I know what is important to you in a relationship.
But do you think also that the investment in wanting to learn and or communicate that to your partner also differs from someone, maybe a casual person, to maybe a actual, like, this is my person?
Yeah, I think in a lot of relationships, when you get into a relationship, you just feel how the person is. You know what I mean? It has
Without knowing
the
the
love
underlying
language, right?
reasons.
I think it takes time later on down the line. You'll realize what your partner's love language actually is, or you can kind of guess if they're always on you or they're always looking for compliments or this, that, and the other. You can kind of tell what a person's love language is because normally it's obvious.
Right.
You know what I mean? Normally somebody wants this one thing, or you mold them into that scenario.
Yeah,
Like
or
if
you
I'm always
teach them,
giving
you
gifts,
guide them.
and I'm saying on the opposite side, like I'm always giving you gifts, so then you become reliant on these gifts. You know what I mean? Or I'm always telling you, giving you compliments about yourself, so then you become
And then when you
reliant
don't,
on
I'm like,
those.
what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
And that might not have been your initial love language. So as the relationship goes on, I think that you figure out what your partner's love language actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm very intuitive to people. I've always been, because I'm a giver, as people say. So I do always feel like I try to figure out what makes people tick. But I also do feel like my level of investment in wants has changed based on my relationship status. Like if it was someone I was casually dating, I didn't invest in that as much as with someone that I see myself with long term.
And it just depends on how long you're dating that person. You know what I mean? If you date them for a while, then all of a sudden you start paying attention to some of these things. But when you first meet them, a person's love language is really not that important to you. You're trying to figure out if you guys, mesh with each other.
Right, but it takes time too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you first start, though, you're not looking at a love language. You're just looking at,
The
are
person
we
in general,
cool?
the
Yeah, the basics. Are we
yeah.
cool with each other? Can we communicate?
Yeah. Do you
This,
want
that, and the other.
kids?
Yeah.
Do I want kids? Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
basic necessities of a
So
relationship.
once that person becomes your everyday and you see something within that person, then you start paying attention to what their needs are, and
Right.
then the needs fall into the same category as the love languages.
Yeah, I
normally.
agree. Yeah.
hmm So what did you learn after we went through all these love languages? What did you learn from?
I learned that receiving gifts is still definitely not my love language.
Mine neither.
I just have no desire for that.
Mhm.
I agree with Ron. Sometimes if it's something that, granted, once in a while, yes, but does my ability to feel loved rely on my significant other giving me a gift? No, it does not. Receiving gifts here and there is a perk, but not a necessity.
I would agree
for me. So I did that, kind of confirmed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And just learning you for the quality time and just things that I can do better. Like it gave me more insight.
Okay.
So that was helpful to me, and I appreciate the 411 on that.
Yeah.
Because I always strive to want to, give you what you need in the relationship.
Yeah, because when I look at the 5 love languages, receiving gifts, words of affirmation is low on
yours.
my radar.
Mhm.
Yeah, I you don't have to buy me nothing. You don't have to tell me this, that, and the other. I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Words of affirmation isn't a huge thing for me, but I am big. I tell Ron I love him any chance that I get. Even if it's, right, babe, the other day I'm like, you didn't kiss me goodbye. Granted, it was a kiss, but love you, bye. And it's not, to me, just a routine. It's in case something happens, I want my last words to be to you that I love you.
Yeah, but
I'm reinforcing it.
I said, hey,
no
I'm
matter
going
if
over
I
here.
know you love me. I don't care. I want you to hear it from me.
I said I was leaving. I told you what I had to do.
Yeah.
You said, okay, cool. After I got done doing what I had to do, I was out.
No, I literally
Call
called
me
him.
like you left the house without. I'm just like, I told you what I was doing.
Yeah, but he did not kiss me before he left. That's a no.
I could have turned back around and then ran into the garage and had an accident running into the garage because
I didn't tell you to return. I said, don't come back. I'm just letting you know. Did I not?
You did say that. Yes, you did.
I'm just saying.
So,
certain things like that. But I really do think that just insight into the love languages really can benefit.
It can, especially if you're looking at long term with your partner, being with your partner for a long term.
Yeah.
It's best to find out, like I said, what makes them tick. What you think is important to them might not be what's really important to them. So to take the test together, or just to talk, like what is it that
you
is
need
the
from
requirement?
me?
I'm going to say this, and I said this before. There are 5 wants and 5 needs you should write down when it comes to a relationship. What are the 5 things you want? All right. You could say, I want to save $1,000 a month or $500 a month. Or I want to lose weight, or I want my partner to blah, blah, blah. But you have to figure out what your 5 needs are. And your 5 needs,
like deal breakers.
Yeah. And well, not just that, but your 5 needs normally goes
like, I need you to tell me you love me often, or
I need you to be responsible. I need you to do this. And that normally goes hand in hand with someone's love language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So figure out what your 5 needs are. And like I said, once it becomes to a point where you guys are serious about your relationship, figure out what are your love languages. You know what I mean? Because it does play a role in a path to a successful relationship. Not saying that if you know somebody's love language, you're going to have a successful relationship, but it does role in the path going
I
towards
agree with
a
that
good
part.
relationship.
Angelica says, I'm the same way with Ryan. What do you mean that you don't like him to leave without telling you bye or kissing you bye? I think it's important. Again, you just don't know what's around the corner. So I think it's very important to express your love to that person in whichever way before you guys part ways, because you just never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just figure out what each other likes, what their needs are, and
Oh,
then
she says yes, correct.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then press on from there. You know what I mean? And it's up to you to communicate that. If somebody is not doing what they need to do to satisfy you in the relationship, especially when it comes to the love languages, have the discussion. It might not be a pretty discussion, but it's
Yeah.
something that you need. Don't just think that your partner should understand that you want to be touched, or you need these words of affirmation. You have to have that conversation with your significant other.
I think too, when you're younger or maybe just not ready to settle down, this type of thing is not a priority or important.
Mm-mm.
But when you are with your forever person or you're looking for that forever person, it becomes a little bit more important to figure out these little quirks or desires or wants and needs. And
Right.
again, you're just more invested in it because you want to give them what they need in order to be satisfied in the relationship.
Yeah, because as you get older, your relationships becomes a little routine. You know what I mean? So if it's going to be routine, you want to figure out within that routine, what is it that you can do to keep the spark going or to keep the peace in the house, and
Yeah.
to know someone's love language is contributing to that. You know what I
Right.
mean? As you get older, when you're young, it's a free for all. You just do what you
Correct.
got to do. You don't
Well,
even
you
care.
don't think, yeah, you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand the importance.
Correct.
Right? Angelica says, for me, it's more of a standard, like we are one.
Okay.
And I did it one time and he didn't. Wait, I'm the same way with Ryan. Oh, I did it one time and he didn't like how it felt. So it's never been an issue since.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways.
Jesse says that my ex and I apparently had different love languages. He thought sex was love. For me, it is showing affection often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of people
They
do
can
think
get
that. Yeah, a lot of
confused.
people are confused. They think that just because they're on you and they want, to have sex with you, that the other person feels loved by that. I know someone that we had a discussion on TikTok Live when I was doing the TikTok Lives. They said the same thing. Like the person thought that sex was love, but the way that they approached sex was awful, and they felt bad every time that they would have sex because of the way that their partner made them feel when it came to
Was it like
having
aggression
sex.
or was it like
Like it was
to put you down type thing?
well,
like
not
you're
only
below
that,
me?
no, not only that, she was saying, if I remember correctly, that it was scheduled.
Oh.
They would watch videos, and then he
It
would be
almost
watching the
sounds like they were
video.
having hard time like conceiving, so they were like on this routine
No, it
of
wasn't no,
no.
yeah, it wasn't no conceiving thing. It was just that's
That's
just
the
the
way
way
they.
he thought that he portrayed his love. Like Saturday at 5 o'clock, we're gonna
Oh
have sex, and then
no.
he'll put on the video.
Like porn?
Yeah, and then he'd be
Oh.
watching the video while they'll be having.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she said it was
That's
just so
almost.
disgusting.
Is that a maturity thing?
I don't know. I have no clue.
That's interesting.
But that might have been how he grew up, or he formed his definition of love
Ideal of
through
love, yeah.
of when it comes to sex.
Angelica says, very true. I was told, don't stop dating each other because when the kids leave to start their own family, you won't know each other. I totally agree. I totally agree. Yeah, because especially when your kids are younger, right? Your lives kind of revolve around the children. But you should definitely prioritize you and your partner because you're correct. Eventually, your kids are going to grow up and move out of the house and create their own families, and then you guys are still there
Not
together.
only move out, when them kids turn about 12, 13, they don't want
That's
too much
true.
anything to do with you at
When
that time. You
when
know what I
Zaylin
mean?
became in middle school, even Hennessy, like we didn't see them. They didn't want to hang
Mm-mm.
out with us
Unless
anymore.
Hennessy wanted to hang out with us when
If
it
we
was
had
food.
food.
Yeah. If it was food related, she was in, you know. But as far as that, when they turned, what, 13, 12,
Yeah.
13,
I
they didn't
say
want
middle
nothing to
school.
do
I
with
don't
you.
know how old you are then.
Yeah.
12, 13
Yeah,
maybe?
around that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
so I agree with you, Angelica. Like, it's so important to just always date your partner,
mhm.
keep it spicy, be intentional,
Right.
right?
Right. Make them feel, like I said, when it comes to the love language, as you grow older, you have to make them feel comfortable
Hmm.
with what their needs are.
Yeah.
And once they feel comfortable in that, then the sky's the limit from there. But don't stop doing the things that you would normally do to get that person, and figure them out. You know what I mean? Figure them out on
Or
what they
learn
actually
them.
want.
Because
Yeah.
you may initially buy them all those gifts and they're like, I don't
I
care
don't want
about
these
gifts.
gifts. You know what I mean? You
Correct.
know,
So
you may
you
be on
definitely
that
have to
person.
learn, but based on your person's wants and needs is how you cater to them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I said, the needs, you can ask people what they want all day, and they can have a whole bunch of wants. I've learned that your needs are very important. You never sacrifice your needs for a couple of wants. I
That's true.
need this to happen.
Right.
I might want this, and this, but I need this to happen.
Unfortunately, now too, a lot of people tend to settle.
Okay.
Right.
But they settle, and I
They
don't blame people
settle.
for settling at times. But then again, they settle and don't even get to know who they're settling with. People are
Mhm.
so eager to rush into a relationship in these
Yes.
days and not really get to know who they're rushing into a relationship with. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree.
So later on down the line, when
You're like, this is not what I pictured and
yeah,
what I'm not happy, but I've already invested 2 years. I don't want to start over. Oh, I can deal with it. And then 4 more years goes and you're unhappy still.
hmm Yeah, because you're thinking nowadays it's not difficult, you know, it's not impossible, but when people get into relationships and you're talking about a long term, normally you invest in a lot, no matter if
Yeah.
it's a car, an apartment, a house, this, that, and
Time.
the other. So if a relationship goes bad, you're kind of stuck in there because now you're trying to figure out, at least financially, how to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
When you get into this relationship and you realize later on down the line that this person done stabbed up somebody at the mall,
Oh my God.
or their credit is awful,
Awful.
or you know,
We
this, that,
can't
and the
even
other.
buy a Pinto.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So a lot of people get into these relationships not knowing partner who their partner actually is in these days.
Right. Angelica says they all seem to hinder physical touch and intimacy. For real, lust is not love.
No, no.
Maybe that's the difference too when you just lust and like you're first getting to know someone, right? You don't really care about that. But then when you're in love with someone, again, it's that investment. Right, babe?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. But it just depends, you know. You treat them like you meet them is what I've always heard. So you meet somebody and it's all about the lust or all about the sex. When you get into a relationship, guess what it's going to be about? It's going to be about that sex or the lust, because that's what got you to that point.
Yeah.
It might not be the same as what you're looking for when it comes to love, but sometimes people look at it that way.
Right.
You know, sometimes people think if I come home every day and then I'm laid up with you and we're having sex every single day, that I'm showing you that love, which is probably not what you want to see.
What did she say?
Who? Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said not stab somebody at the mall. Yeah. But
It
there's some
happens.
crazy people out there, Rachel. There's some crazy people out there. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
You find out a
Watch out
lot.
who you fall in love with too.
Yeah, you found out a lot. You know, you in a relationship and then you get married, and 3 years down the line, you find out that the person ain't even the person that you actually married, or they got
Very true.
some stuff, you know, hanging behind them. So
Or you just didn't get to know them and it was too late.
yeah. There's a lot of people that, like I said, that they do not know. They jump into a relationship and not take the time to get to know who the person actually is,
Yeah.
or what type of relationships they have with their family, or you know, things of that nature. They're aggressive and they're abusive, and what's the word they use now? Narcissistic. Or
Oh, I
yeah,
hear that word a lot. Like, was narcissist not a thing back in the day,
I
but
don't
now it
know. It's
is? Or
trendy. I
did
guess it's a
they
trendy
figure
word
out
now.
a way to classify it now?
I think it's an easy, trendy word.
But I feel like you said that too about like ADHD. You're like, they diagnose all the kids with ADHD.
Yeah, because it's
Sometimes it's just
easy.
discipline.
Yeah,
So
sometimes
maybe
it's just
people
easy.
also with the whole
Maybe, yeah,
narcissist
yeah.
thing. Anyways, guys, we hope that you guys enjoyed these last 5 weeks. It was very insightful for me, anyways.
Me
How about
too.
you?
So let's go over the 5 love languages
Oh,
that we covered.
all right. So we have words of affirmation, acts
Yes.
of service,
Mm-hmm.
receiving gifts,
Right.
and then we did quality time, and now physical touch is our
Right.
last one.
So those are the 5 love languages. If you do not know what your love language is, I suggest that you take the test. Once you might think your love language is X, let's say physical touch. Then once you take the test and you answer these questions, and they give you the percentage of
Yeah.
how you answered these questions, sometimes it's not what you think your love
Yeah,
language
but
actually
sometimes it's
is.
like, yep, that's me.
Yeah,
That's me.
yeah. And because it's the same with my horoscope. You know what? I'm a
Oh
Capricorn.
God.
There's no other horoscope. What do you call it? Than Capricorn. Um,
What?
but sometimes I read
Oh,
the definition of how they describe a Capricorn, and some of them I'm like, yep, that's me.
mine's spot
Yep,
on
that's
all
me.
the way.
Yeah, but half of them I'm like, nah.
No.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that is far from
Maybe that
being
could
me.
be like upbringing or just maturity or just life, maybe
And it could
sometimes.
be, and like I said, same thing with your love language. You
Mhm.
might come up and you might not think that your love language is this, that, and the other, but once you take this
You're
test,
like,
you'll
oh,
figure out,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
maybe your mindset when it comes to your relationship might change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for joining us. We
Yes.
will continue on with our future I can't talk
Future
podcast
podcast.
in just doing variety different topics that we did prior to this. So we hope you join us, but we
Right.
do appreciate all of you guys who chimed in these last few weeks, gave us insight. We learned a lot.
Yes.
And yeah, we appreciate you guys supporting us, and we hope you continue. Make sure to like and follow and continue chiming in, and also to reach out if you have any topics that you would like us to cover,
Hmm.
right?
Yes. And like she said, we really appreciate it. We learned a lot, not just about us, but a lot from you guys too, because you guys had good insight. You chimed in.
Mhm.
You had us thinking and generating
Seeing
conversation.
perspectives
Yes, because we only see things,
our way.
from what we have going on, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of times I'll look and say, okay, yeah, I can see that as well. And like I said, mine changed. My love language changed from years ago, I guess, till now. So maybe yours has too. Depends on what you go through and whatnot.
Yeah.
We are going to continue this every Thursday
Every
at six
Thursday.
o'clock Mountain Time. We will be on here with different topics, relationships, and the whole nine. So if you do have a topic that you want us to cover, like she said, make sure you DM us or reply to one of our podcasts that
Yeah.
we've had so far, and then we'll make sure that we cover your topic.
And also to those who have been following us, our website is up and running, especially for the shirts.
Okay.
So we are slowly adding the shirts. We have, I think, 8 items on there now. So
Mhm.
if you're interested, go to the website Plannook, PLANNOOK by Angela.com. You can reach both our shirts and the notebooks, journals. What am I missing? Notebooks, journals, and printables.
Right.
So yeah.
School's coming up pretty soon. School's
Oh,
about
yeah.
to start, so we have notebooks, journals, and whatnot that the kids can use. Or if you need one for your job or working out,
Yep.
fitness, and whatnot, make sure that you
We
check
have a
us out.
variety on there, and the shirts are cool. And like I said, if you have any interests, then we might be able to cater to those.
Right.
they might already be on there, or you can do a special request one and we can get together and see what it is that you need.
Yeah.
So,
If you have like a family reunion or
Mhm.
you have something that's coming up and
Yep.
you need shirts made for that, reach out to us and we'll make sure that
Yeah.
we take care of you guys.
yeah. Thanks,
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for the support.
Yes.
Have a good
Have a
weekend.
wonderful weekend.